And these guys also spend a shitload of money on, so, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
On ads. Yeah.
These guys spend a shitload of money on Google ads, right? So pre-roll commercials that are on YouTube.
Correct.
And I noticed watching a bunch of your videos that these guys have their commercials in front of your videos that are calling out fake gurus.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Like there was one guy, I got his commercial like 3 times. It's the guy, I don't know what his name is, but he's sitting there in front of his computer, and in his office, he's got like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari behind him with lights shining down on it.
Because that's normal, right? You put your Ferrari with your computer. Yeah.
Right. Anyways.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's my favorite thing about my channel is that if you didn't think it was a big deal before, you will understand that it's everywhere, because as soon as you start watching my videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like really funny. I don't think there's ever been such a perfect, like, they're proving my point as when they run ads on my videos. And it's only because the algorithm's bad and it doesn't see that I'm bashing these people. And so it just sees the keywords and it just automatically puts me in their like ad category, I guess. But they spend a bunch of money on my show trying to advertise on it just automatically, and nobody's converting because nobody wants to buy it because they're seeing these people get caught out. So it's hilarious. So hopefully I'm driving up their cost per acquisition.
Yeah, you definitely are. I think you are for sure. So who are some of the biggest fake gurus that you've uncovered?
I think probably Dan Lok's the biggest.
Okay, Dan Lok's the one that I don't know anything about.
Sure.
I did some looking into him. I know that he has some sort of a pyramid scheme set up with people that are underneath him that are trying to sell his stuff. Is that right?
Sort of. So a lot of these guys do affiliate. It's not quite a pyramid scheme, but it's close, where basically what they say is, hey, okay, you take my course and then you sell my course to your friends and then you make a commission off that. But it doesn't go any level deeper than that, because if your friends sell a course, you don't then get money. That would make it a pyramid scheme. If it is if it like flowed all the way up. Okay. But it's really just a one line. It just like you make a kickback on what you sell to other people.
Just like a sales commission kind of.
Yeah. But it is funny. Yeah. Because these guys who are supposed to be trained to become high ticket closers become high ticket closers for high ticket closer. And it's like this big loop of like, you're selling the product, and then those people are trained to sell the product. And it's like, wait, what are you actually selling besides the product? Like, what are you really doing? But Dan Lok, no, he's this Asian gentleman from Canada, and he's built this huge following off the idea that he's the boss in the Bentley. That's what he calls himself. And he's the high ticket closer. He teaches people how to sell high ticket items. Right. But the thing is he takes anybody. So he'll take a kid off the street, and supposedly he's training them to be a high ticket closer. But I've talked to these guys on the phone. They're like, yeah, I completed the course. I've never sold anything in my life. Not only have I not sold a high ticket thing, I've never sold anything at all. And you're just calling me a high ticket closer. I've never sold anything. These people are not salesmen. And if you've done an ounce of selling, what you know is that sales books cannot really take you that far. They're great to read, but then it's like basketball. It's like, hey, how much are you going to read about technique? The way to get good is by doing the thing, right? And so the real way to sell is by doing the thing. But he's sort of famous for really spending millions and millions of dollars on ads, getting so many people involved. And then the big thing was the upsells. So it wasn't just about the $2,000 course. It was about, hey, once you're done with the $2,000 one, really the way to become a high ticket closer, mind you, nobody has sold anything yet, is to go join the inner circle. Okay, what's the inner circle? Well, that's more money. Okay, go spend more money on Dan's inner circle. All right, but once you go to Dan's inner circle, now you got to go to the Closers in Black event. Okay, you go to Closers in Black event. You spend a few $1,000s on that. Now, at Closers in Black, it's a big sales pitch for high ticket millionaire. Now, what's high ticket millionaire? Well, you still haven't sold a course, but now you can spend even more money. And now we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars on this high ticket millionaire thing. And what people told me who were in this thing, in this sales pitch, was people were running to the back to swipe their credit cards. People were crying that their credit cards had been declined because it had been racked up with so much spend on Dan Lok stuff. And this guy goes, the famous thing is from one of my, victim testimonials is, if I could sell my soul to take this course, I would do anything to take this course. can someone give me a loan? I'll pay it back. Da, da, da. And these people are already mountains in debt. They went to Dan in the first place because a lot of them are desperate. And it's like this. So that's really where you go from predatory to even something almost worse than that, because you have these people basically ruining what they had left of a life. They already were struggling to find their footing. They ruined what left they had of that because now they're in debt. They're not selling. And then Dan instills in them this idea that like, well, maybe the reason you're not selling is because you don't believe enough in the product. Maybe you need to take this other class. Maybe you need to do this other thing, right? And it's this really vicious cycle. People have gotten, $50,000 in debt, or they spent $50,000. It's just crazy.
It sounds a lot like Scientology.
Well, that's the thing. It's very like cult-like and religious. Like the people from it called it. Both people I talked to called it a cult. The guy has them. Everyone call him Sifu. He calls it a family, the high ticket closer family, the HTC family. He has them call each other brothers and sisters. He says if your family's not supportive, maybe don't talk to your family. Like what is your family doing? They don't want you to succeed. Hey, we're your real family. We're the high ticket closer family. We're your brothers and sisters. It's very cult like. You're supposed to listen to these meditations in his course, like every morning and every night, of Dan Lok talking to you, like of affirmations, and you're supposed to it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And so that's one of the worst things that I've seen so far. But
now he specifically teaches like how to be good at selling, like because sales is all about, most people who do sales are all into psychology and all kinds of weird things, like building the ways to build rapport with people to make them like you and want what you have to offer, right? So is that what he's teaching?
Yeah, but that's not even really what he's good at. He's mostly a copywriter. I mean, this is, again, all my opinion. I'm just going to say, because Dan Lok sent me cease and desist letters before for saying what I'm saying. So let me reiterate.
Has he really?
This is my opinion. Oh, yeah. I've got one right over there. Actually, I packed it up. But yeah, I could have gotten it for you. If I know we were going to talk about this, I would have shown it to you. Yeah, they showed up at my door and they're like, hey, this is from Dan Lok, you da-da-da. And the letter was like, you can't talk about this. We're going to sue you, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. They can't intimidate me. So it's ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. And that's how I know that I'm getting through to people, is because the fact that they're wanting to intimidate me with lawsuit threats. Why would you do that to somebody who's not affecting your bottom line? If you had such a pristine course, no one would be leaving just because some guy started criticizing you a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's something I noticed when Graham Stephan came down here. I was doing this like little documentary series about a real estate investor. And, it was kind of like what you were doing with Coffee Break. It was more of like an art project where I put a lot of time into creating these cool, like cinematic videos that told a story. It was like its own little like business comedy documentary type thing I was doing. And it became the most popular thing on my channel because it was probably 80% just entertainment and a little bit of education sprinkled in there. And I just had this outpouring of people that were emailing me and messaging me, all day, every day, of like these, like it was always the same thing. It was always people who had not made it and they were super motivated to make it. And like their profile pictures was them wearing a suit and tie, and they're an up and coming realtor or they're up and coming real estate agent. And, they want, oh, please just introduce me to this guy. Please. What can I do to meet this guy? And, they weren't seeing what I was seeing. They have this perspective. There's a huge group of people online that have a perspective of rich people, a false perspective of rich people. And I noticed that when Graham Stephan came down here, he was on this show and he was like a real estate agent / investor. And I expected him to be this, hotshot real estate guy who made all his money in real estate. And he also made these videos out of I had this perspective that he was this big investor who just through the kindness of his heart wanted to share his knowledge with the rest of the world.
Gosh. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So, that's how he positions himself. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when he came here, I realized that's not, I mean, he said it himself. He's like, that's not true. He's like, I make most of my money on YouTube. He's like, I make all my money through ads from my YouTube revenue.
Sure.
So I was like, they kind of like sent my mind through a loop. And I was like, okay, people watch you because they want to learn how to, I mean, don't get me wrong. He has a lot of videos that will teach you a lot of valuable things about finance and how to use credit cards, how to build your credit, etc. And I think there's a line that you have to dance when you are positioning yourself as an expert in a certain field. Really what you're doing is just earning money from the entertainment that you're putting out by positioning yourself as this wealthy person.
Correct. A lot of self-development is just about making money through the show, the glitz, the glam. Honestly, I have so many problems with the current state of self-help, self-development, and then mostly this coach or mentor culture we've created. And people don't realize that the reason everyone's talking about you need a mentor, you need a mentor, you need a mentor, you need a mentor, is because they want to be your mentor. Like, how hilarious is that? It's like a piano teacher saying, hey, you really need a piano teacher. It's like, all right, well, of course you're going to say that. You're trying to sell yourself to me. But I think it's done this real disservice for young people trying to make their way in. They've never experienced any success, so they don't know how to get it. And it's just kind of this like magical thing to them. And you have a bunch of quote successful people saying how you become successful is you get a mentor and you copy them.